Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Maysville Board of Commissioners to order. Special meeting Thursday, January the 27th at 1 p.m. Our invocation will be done by Reverend Lease. Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Maysville Board of Commissioners to order. Special meeting Thursday, January the 27th at 1 p.m. Our invocation will be done by Reverend Lease.
Mighty Father, we come before you and we thank you for your mercy and your love that endures forever. Father, we just take this opportunity here today to pause and to take a moment to lift up to you our community. And so many continue to battle the illness. Many family members are affected with concerns and the anxiety. We just ask your blessings upon them. Father, we also lift up to you the French family as they have gone through this accident. We pray that you bring them healing. We also pray for other comfort in this time. We ask these things in Christ's name.
Amen.
Pastor, could you please add the Muse family to that also?
Yeah. Thank you, Reverend Lease. I'd also like to welcome to our meeting Mason County Judge Executive Owen McNeil. Thank you for being here with us today. First, we have board commission appointments. Jessica Ely, the board. Pardon? Oh, sorry.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood,
Here.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Cotterill,
Yes, ma'am.
City Manager Wallingford,
Here.
City Attorney Cottle,
Here.
Controller Stanfield, HR Director Rose, Project Coordinator Horde,
Here.
Public Works Director Truesdale, Police Chief Muse, Fire Chief Doyle,
Here.
Utility Manager Huron, Planning and Zoning Administrator Larger, Building Inspector Fawcett, Codes Officer Brooks, Tourism Director Halloran, Main Street Director Reese.
Thank you, Lisa. Now for our board and commission appointments. Jessica Ely to the Codes Enforcement Board.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
yes.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Cotterill.
Yes, ma'am. And Jessica is here with us. If you want to come forward, Jessica, we will do the oath of office. First of all, thank you for your willingness to serve our community and our city. Do you, Jessica Ely, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Commonwealth, the Constitution of the Commonwealth, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, as long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of Codes Enforcement Board according to law, and you do furtherly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, that you, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons, nor within this state, nor out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God.
I agree.
I do.
I do.
Thank you, Jessica.
Probably wanted to fight with them.
And welcome to our team.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Appointment utility manager.
Memorandum to the mayor and city commissioners from Matt Wallingford, city manager, January 25th, 2022. With the upcoming retirement of Luke Huron, I respectfully request the appointment of Mark Julian to the position of utility manager effective February 1st. Mark was hired by the city in October of 2020 as the Assistant Utility Manager. Since that time, he has been heavily involved in the operation of both the water and wastewater sides of the department and has shown an eagerness to better himself in the department. He already has his Class 4 license for the water plant and for water distribution. He is currently preparing to test for his wastewater plant and wastewater collection licenses. I've been very impressed regarding Mark's willingness to learn, the way he communicates with other employees in the utility department and across all departments, as well as his positive interactions with the general public. He has the knowledge and personal skills to vastly improve the department, which in turn benefits our city. I look forward to fostering my relationship with him, learning from him, and together as a team, improving the utility infrastructure in Maysville and Mason County.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartmel,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, ma'am. Congratulations, Mark.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Mark.
Do we have enough class 4s now? We do? Okay, good.
Appointment paramedic Darian Dotson.
To City Manager Matt Wallingford, Mayor Cottrell, and City Commissioners from Fire Chief Kevin Doyle, dated January 26, 2022. Darian Dodson and Daniel Heber have recently completed the hiring process for the fire department. Darian comes to us with several years of experience as an EMT and paramedic and is interested in serving the city as a single role paramedic. Daniel has a firefighting experience and recently completed an EMT course recognized by the Kentucky Board of EMS. I'm confident that both of these individuals will be great additions to the department. With that said, I recommend that both of these individuals are appointed to their applied positions.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And just to clarify, the letter that she has for Darian and Daniel.
Yes.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Cartmel,
I just
Yes,
save you some time.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay, Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, ma'am. And I believe that Daniel is with us today. Kevin, if you and Daniel would like to stand, and if there's anything you would like to share.
Sure, this is Daniel Eberlin. He's one of two that we are appointing today. Daniel's got firefighting experience. He just finished an EMT course, as I said in my letter. Very excited to have him on board.
Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you and welcome to our team. Appreciate you. Public announcements.
Vaccine clinics this Friday and Saturday at the Buffalo Trace District Health.
Say that again and say it loud.
Rather into the mic, please.
There will be COVID vaccine clinics, first, second booster doses at the Buffalo Trace District Health Department, also known as Mason County Health Center. Friday, tomorrow, 9 to 7 and 9 to noon Saturday.
Thank you, Victor. Brian Helpenstein.
Yeah, come up here, Brian. Go ahead.
Brian Helpenstein,
Not
representing,
hearing that at all.
hopefully I'll be employed with a nonprofit agency here in town in the future, the town and the county. I want to just inform y'all that y'all know what's going on, some of the things we're doing. In the past, I think we've seen some agencies or outfits come into town and they haven't really came probably down to talk to you all or Matt or anybody. And I've seen tragedies happen. My father and my family have always told me to come down, talk to Ray Young, Matt, whoever, the mayor, commissioners, and let everybody know what we're trying to do. Since I've been clean, we've been trying to help others get clean. So we just like to keep everybody posted and be as transparent as possible. I have probably a couple of things to talk about here. And the first thing would be the agency I was talking about. We just got our nonprofit status back at the end of last year of 2021. And so we haven't been able to really execute on a lot of donations and stuff yet. We've looked at several buildings. Most are expensive. So if anybody knows of anything that we could house, do a residential setting for drug addicts to recover, if anybody sees or hears of anything, especially if it's a good deal. So we've been looking at that. And one place is even 7 digits. So I mean, it's tough. And we'll probably be leaning on donations from the community health, or wherever we can get it from, grants. Anyway, the name of the nonprofit is Wounded Healers Incorporated. Wounded Healer is a nickname by Carl Jung, the psychotherapist, psychoanalyst Carl Jung. And it's under the pretense of almost like this Dr. Gregory House from the show House, and from the Greek wounded physician. What this is it talks about empathy, where we hope to employ recovered addicts and alcoholics to further help people. That's sort of the deal, that I stay clean because I help people, and I'm able to help people because they can relate. 82% of mental health physicians and staff workers, including counselors, psychotherapists, doctors, nurses, and social workers, 82% have reported mental illness in themselves, which I'm not saying that to scare anybody. It's just how it is. I think a lot of people get their passion from that. They overcome things, and it's like the person that quits smoking and wants to help other people quit smoking. There's other nicknames like Drunken Angel, which is odd, Wounded Surgeon. The wounded surgeon plies the steel that questions the distempered part. There's a story of Dr. Sonata who counseled a young gangster to abandon his self-destructive lifestyle in a movie called Drunken Angel, 1948 film. There's even a thing called The Sin Eater. I don't know much about that, but I found it today. So with that being said, on our board, we have President Allison Adams, Treasurer John Denham, Secretary Mary Ann Kearns, Vice Treasurer, Vice Secretary Chris Neal, Dr. Jeff Dickerson, Representative Recovering Person Rusty Jordan, and Jared has agreed to help as well. And we're trying to throw the Vice President role on him. So I've talked to Jared, and we've been working on a grant called the CARE program, Cops Aiding Recovery Emergencies. And what that is somebody can call the police department and say, I'm done, I'm tired, I want to help. Or if there's something, an intervention, a parent calls, we can offer this person a ride assistance. And we're working on getting gas money through the Buffalo Trace ASAP. We're working on getting, gas money for that to take people to the healing place in Louisville, Kentucky. So we're excited about that because we've been doing some of that, but there hasn't been any funding for it. But I think where Jared and his department is right now, they can't see everything. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. The new drug of choice is crystal methamphetamine, which causes people to hallucinate, which makes Jared's job harder and makes us feel less safe. So I think Jared's his guys are doing their best to stop to protect us, but we need help because these people are very confused. They're walking around very, very confused. And sometimes they have a knife in their hand, sometimes they have a screwdriver, sometimes they have a gun. So we really need to get these people in and talk to them.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. That's next item.
Pardon?
Yeah, that's the next item.
Emergency response.
Discussion items, emergency response team policy and possible adoption.
So the Maysville Police Department has had an emergency response team for as long as I've been a police officer. Kentucky League of Cities has made it pretty tough to keep this going because of the insurance purposes. So we have to train at least 16 hours a month, the whole emergency response team. And that's tough to do when you have a smaller agency. So I've been in talks with the Mason County Sheriff, Sheriff Boggs, and his deputies, and we are requesting permission from you all to move forward with having a combined emergency response team with the Mason County Sheriff's Office. They have come up with a good policy that I have sent forward to Matt and to Kelly to review. And there's going to be a process to where if they're interested, they have to do a resume, they have to do a physical fitness test, firearms qualification. And there's also going to be, there's one more aspect to it. But anyway, with that being said, I think it's in the best interest of the city to allow us to go ahead and move forward and to combine and have a joint emergency response team where we're responding to both city and county call outs.
Me too. Is that as far as you go, just city, county?
Yes.
You don't go out of the county?
No, now there can be other agencies that request us. And if that's the case, we end up having a memorandum of
Sure.
agreement. And but that has happened before in the past with Augusta. They have asked us to come and assist, but just think it's a win-win for the city of Maysville.
If you go out in the county, and how many officers go? Does that not leave our city unprotected?
No, it does not. And so the emergency response team, I think right now there are 10 people, including both the sheriff and the Maysville Police Department that have applied. So I don't think all 10 folks will make it. It'll probably be a rather small group that will make it, probably anywhere from 4 to 6. So yes,
But this is just a response. team.
Just the
So if
response
there's
team.
An incident.
Yeah.
Not everyone that's currently working
No.
on that shift will be leaving.
no, Maysville will have its full shift working. This will just be extra guys that are on this emergency response team that will go.
If you have something like that, Jared, who do they call? If you're out, you get a call from the county?
So basically
they call?
it goes through a chain of command. So if it happens in the county, it would go through the sheriff. Sheriff would call me and we'd get together and do a call out through our paging system and dispatch. So it has to work its way through a series of chain of command in order for an emergency response team to be activated.
I think it's a great program.
I do too.
Y'all don't mind, so we have it on the record. We just get a motion approving a combined emergency response.
So move.
Second, roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartmel,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, ma'am. Change the second meeting date in February.
I will be out of town February 23rd, 24th for the Kentucky City County Managers Association Conference, and wanted to see if we have anything on the agenda, because I think last year we didn't even have a second February meeting. If you all would be willing to move that to maybe Monday or Tuesday, the 21st or
Fine with
22nd.
me.
Is that okay?
I'm workable, what everybody
Okay.
else has.
Why don't you just have one meeting?
We can do that, but I mean, obviously, if something comes up and we need to take some action on something, I want to have the flexibility for us to meet. If anything
Okay.
comes
What about
up.
the AM on the 22nd
AM on the 22nd is fine with me.
or 1 o'clock? Still
Okay.
good. It's whatever these,
I'm okay. I'll work around tomorrow.
yes, it's whatever
That's a Thursday.
that's a
No, it's a
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So you said
The last Tuesday of the February.
2/2/2/2.
2/2/2,
2/2.
2/2/2/2.
Hey, Vic, what about,
That's fine for me.
what about Wednesday morning?
Monday,
that
Tuesday,
okay?
or Wednesday.
Because I wouldn't leave till around lunchtime on Wednesday. Could we maybe do Wednesday morning? Because I know Kelly's going to be out till the 22nd. He'll be back in. Would that be all right with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Maybe Wednesday morning, if we need to. Is
Yeah, that's fine.
that good?
2:23.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
time? What
Yes,
time?
ma'am. Let's say 9. Is
That's
that okay
fine.
with you? 9
Fine
a.m.?
with me.
Okay. That's no problem. Thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate that.
No problem.
23, 9 o'clock.
Golf course ordinance.
Golf cart ordinance. All right. I think Chief Hughes and I talked a while ago. I think it's been what, maybe a year or two. We had talked about it. And so Penny walks into my office Monday and she made me aware of Augusta and Flemingsburg, which have golf cart ordinances. She said, Matt, this is another aspect of tourism that we're pushing, for downtown Maysville. I said, you're right. So she reached out to, was it Gretchen England over at Augusta? I reached out to Mayor Money in Flemingsburg and got copies of their ordinances, which are basically carbon copies of the statutory language. And Bobby Money told me, he said, Matt, it's been a big hit over here in Flemingsburg. So what we're looking at is we're going to propose to you all an ordinance that would allow golf carts essentially downtown. They can be driven on any road that has a posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour or less, which is everything bottom of the hill. There are some other, you have to have a driver's license. You got to have seat belts enabled. Now, I know I talked to Mayor Cotterill a little bit about this. She would like to see seatbelts required by the folks who are riding, and we can be more stringent than the statute. You have to have a valid driver's license in order to drive one. You have to pay an inspection fee and a yearly license fee. And just to give you an example, Flemingsburg's fee is $25. Augusta's is $35. So it's not real. And there are other, you got to have headlamps, tail lamps.
Brake lights.
Yeah,
Brake
all that
lights,
stuff.
everything.
And I sent you a link to the statute. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. But basically, our ordinance would be exactly what is in the statute, with the exception of we would add in there where they would be permitted. And the first thing I did after I talked with Penny is I checked with Chief Muse to get his opinion on it, and he was okay with it, correct? Okay.
Is it daylight to sun?
That is something we can talk about. If I'm not mistaken, either
nighttime.
Augusta's or Flemingsburg is 1 hour after sunrise and 1 hour up to sunset, I think. Wide open, okay. And I think that's something I would talk with the chief about to get his opinion before we recommended something.
Street
to you.
only, sidewalk?
It would be the street. It would be on the street.
right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So what I'd like, Chief, is there anything yes, sir?
One thing I would add, you might consider that where I see some of them sometimes are in the subdivisions on the hill. I've seen in Washington, Glendale. So I don't know if you're just thinking about downtown.
Well, we can, and that has been discussed, possibly the subdivisions. Yeah.
I think
We can.
Cedarwood has them too.
Yeah.
Cedarwood goes back
I think
and
if we're
forth.
doing 35 miles, we should do it everywhere if we're going to do it.
Okay. Within city limits.
Is this something that insurance is going to be required, either liability or PIP or BRB?
That is covered by the statute, Andrew. Let me see. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, a golf cart operating on a public roadway of this section shall be insured in compliance with KRS 304 by the owner or operator, and proof of insurance shall be inside the golf cart at all times of the operation on public roadway.
Because I have a feeling people are going to need it.
Yeah, that's statutory language.
That's what I worry about with this. It's fun and let's accommodate people, but there's a reason cars have roll cages and
Sure.
safety airbags and safety features.
And
And there's going to be a coal truck that is texting while they're downtown and somebody's going to get smushed. And I don't mean to be raining on anybody's parade, but there's a reason golf carts are not allowed on the roadway, in my opinion.
Okay. Fair enough. But I-
Lacey, any comment from you on this?
From a tourism standpoint, having been very familiar with Augusta's ordinance, was there when that went into effect. We've never had an accident reported. It went over just smashingly in Augusta. For us, I think it would be a great utilization of our city campground. Those folks that utilize that during the season, and even boaters that come down, if they had that access, could then come down and access downtown a little better. That would be straight down Second Street for our boaters, coming right into the heart of downtown. I think it'd be a win-win.
And they write tickets in Augusta also.
They do.
Yeah, you can't double park them or park in yellow zones or that kind of stuff.
They would be treated just like a vehicle, correct?
That's
Keith?
right.
Yes. And Andrew, they are required to be inspected prior to be given basically a license to be on the street. From the way the statute reads, the inspection is done by the sheriff's department or someone designated by the sheriff's department. And these vehicles are not allowed to be able to go over 35 miles an hour themselves. So you wouldn't see one going 55 down Second Street.
Well, really what I'm worried about, I see it similar to reintroducing wolves into the wilderness or black bears in Eastern Kentucky. It sounds fun and it's neat and let's restore nature the way it was 10,000 years ago, but somebody's going to get killed because they're driving a golf cart when somebody's not paying attention, some teenager or a truck driver or somebody. And it's just going to happen. And
Sure. But if you,
I'm not sure I'm in favor of it.
and I understand that, but you also have to think about bicycles are road vehicles as
Right.
well. And they're out all the time and they're
Right.
on city streets and, they can be
Right.
anywhere. So it could happen to anybody. And I
Gotcha.
understand, I appreciate your concern.
What about these things that look like golf carts that they sell at Rural King?
Like a side by side.
Yeah, these two.
No, it spells out in here, golf cart means, and it lays everything out.
Okay,
That's statutory language, David.
okay, that's,
And if you all wanted to add language in there that says these types of vehicles are not permitted within this, or we can do that.
I think you'll need to.
I
Okay.
think you will too. People
So
will.
no side by
run
side.
with
Yeah.
it.
They'll
Jared,
they'll
what's your
interpret it.
thought?
I was just gonna mention also that this has been going on.
It has.
for a little while. And I've received calls in the past, but you kind of just let it.
Why?
Watch them, just make sure they're being safe, have a little, triangle on the back, slow vehicle. And as far as I know, and you correct me, like, I haven't worked in IT, but yes, I agree with you, Commissioner, that it could happen. If it does, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah,
There's a possibility for, I guess, just about anything. But like I said, it's been going on for a couple of years, 3 years, and really haven't had any issues.
can you park them on the street?
I don't see why you.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
They would be treated just like a vehicle.
Okay,
Matt, could you
Yes, sir.
make sure that you include what's not considered?
Yes, yes.
And
Will
you-
do.
I
I'll
mean,
make a
you-
note. Yes,
yeah.
sir. You don't want four-wheelers, stuff like that, yeah.
Can we also look back at them not being able to cut in and out of the parking places when they're traveling? We see it a lot on Fourth Avenue and Second Street. If they're driving down, they're cutting over into the parking lanes and then they're cutting back out.
Oh, they're driving through the parking lanes? Okay, I got you. Yeah,
I mean, we've had calls on that before.
okay,
On the speedway, they're cutting over and then cutting back out into the traffic.
okay. That's fair.
So will you all work on that and then
Yes.
bring it back?
Yes, I'll have that to you February 10th meeting for a first read.
Okay.
Yeah. I will. Okay. Thank you.
Utility Department Corrective Action Plan.
I'll turn this over to these guys. There you go.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you about the conditions assessment that the utility department recently performed. The page that I put in your inbox before the meeting today is just highlighting the requests and the recommendations that we have to address critical operations and maintenance repairs and time-sensitive engineering. And we feel like it is important to address these now so it does not hold us up with implementing the infrastructure action plan that we've got that we're going to be implementing or attempting to implement over the next 5 to 10 years. So to go into a little detail, the ICA looked at the condition of our infrastructure of our water and wastewater, the reliability of that infrastructure, and key issues like keeping us compliant, preventing violations, increasing the preventative maintenance that we perform on our infrastructure, financial viability, safety to residents and employees, and improving efficiency within the department. And a part of that, of course, is the continual planning. So I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes of this now. The critical operations and maintenance repairs refers to, we have 26 sewer collection lift stations in our system. and each station operates with a minimum of 2 pumps. Presently, there are no spare pumps on hand for any of those stations. So in times of increased flow, and with only one operational pump, there's significant risk of a sanitary sewer overflow, for which in the past, not recently, we have been found in violation. So combined with emergency repair costs, long supply chain lead times, and possible fines and public relations with the public, we are requesting $150,000 for critical and spare pumps. Additionally, the wastewater treatment plant has an emergency power generator that the cooling system is in need of repair. We've got a quote for that at $15,000. There is screening and grit removal in the upstairs of the wastewater plant. It has a series of auger transport machinery that is in need of replacement, and we have a quote for that to repair that at $200,000. The last critical operations and maintenance repair item is the primary distribution flow meter that shows what we pump out of the water treatment plant into the distribution system. And that meter is not showing accurately. So that affects our water loss reports. And when we apply for funding to KIA for future projects, they're going to look at those numbers. If your water loss reports aren't showing, if they're showing a significant amount of water loss, that could affect their decision to award us funding. And that quote is $30,000. The time sensitive engineering. The water treatment plant uses a deep raw water well to take water from the Ohio River to start treating that water. These pumps were put in the 30s and they are at the end of their service life. The pumps themselves are quite expensive. There's issues with getting parts for them. And while, our water is safe to drink, I want to, highlight that. There's nothing wrong with our water, but we're trying to look at this long-term, trying to prepare for things in a proactive way rather than reactive. So those pumps, not only are they old and it's hard to get parts for them, they have minimal flood protection. They're in the bottom of a deep pit. So right now part of the engineering, part of that 148,000 for this item that we would like to get approved for is to bring those pumps up to where they're above the level where the flooding would occur. And basically, keep those in service. So our water treatment plant is, able to have another 40 or 50 years worth of life to it.
Excuse me just for a second.
Sure.
What kind of wellhead is on that if you raise it up?
What kind of wellhead?
Yeah. I mean, how many feet are you?
I mean, it's at least 50, 75 feet.
Vertically?
Vertically. Yeah. Right now, we have operators every shift. They go down there at least once per their shift. We have 2 shifts a day to check to make sure that the sumps are operating down there so that it doesn't damage those pumps.
Okay. Well, we had one, it's been several years that went down. Did you rebuild one then? Or you weren't here?
I wasn't here.
Okay. Do I? Yes. Okay. All right.
So we are requesting for the engineering to be considered now because after the next fiscal year, we could proceed with bidding and construction to get those pumps replaced. The other item for time sensitive engineering is currently the water treatment plant uses 1-ton chlorination system for the disinfection of our drinking water. There is safety concerns with storing several 1-ton cylinders in a residential neighborhood. There's also supply chain issues. The cost of chlorine has gone up since the start of the pandemic. So right now we're not at risk for interrupted supply for chlorine, but the cost has gone up and the safety concerns that I mentioned. So what we have proposed is we've gotten engineering prices at $231,000 for an on-site low-strength bleach generator that basically uses salt combined with electricity, and it generates a really low-strength bleach solution. There will be a break-even point if we were to get the funds to proceed with this. where, the cost would be justified over time, like with the price increases for the chlorine that we're currently using. After a certain point, we would break even. And it would also alleviate the safety concerns that were raised with storing chlorine in a residential neighborhood. The last item for the time-sensitive engineering is presently there are no modeling for water and wastewater. Like from time to time, we get requests for information for like Morton Lane property, the old Federal Mogul building, where a economic development authority will ask us to provide numbers, or the firm rather, for the utility department to provide numbers to say what can that property deliver in terms of water, how much wastewater in gallons can it receive. And so that will help the developers determine what type of businesses would like to bring their business to Maysville. So it impacts jobs and economic development. The modeling that the utility department is recommending would give us firm numbers on that. So it would help us when we are being considered for those opportunities for businesses to move into Maysville and provide more jobs and more revenue. The last part of that is we tied in GIS is a tool that stores each detail of a utility system in a way that paper maps cannot provide. It provides not only the location of system components, but a continuity of record that is easily accessed and updated. Operating a water and wastewater utility with a functional and up-to-date GIS is a must going forward. There's several regulatory changes that are coming in the next year or two at the federal level that will be enforced on us, and we are going to have up-to-date mapping information for our water and wastewater utility. The price for the hydraulic modeling for water and wastewater and the up-to-date GIS for all system components is $135,000. I just wanted to say that we have an opportunity. That's why we're requesting this to use ARPA money for this, where we've got the opportunity to use grant money. So it wouldn't impact our water and wastewater customers. It wouldn't impact their bill. So of course that is your decision, but that's what we have recommended.
For all of this.
Yes.
Okay.
And what kind of money was that?
Oh, the American Rescue Plan
Yeah,
Act
okay.
funds.
Mhm.
The city's going to be getting
Yeah.
1.4
million, we receive the other remaining balance supposedly in July 22.
And that's another million, isn't it?
1.1.
Okay. You've got around 900,000 just for this. You and David, how much does that affect what we're going to have to do on there? Is that going to help us on our splitting of our sewers? No. So we're still going to be spending how many millions?
20, 30
20 or 30 million.
over the next. Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. We're working with Buffalo Trace and other agencies on money to cover those.
Well, at least we'll have clean drinking water.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I ask you, Mark,
Yes, ma'am.
has this all been in battery repair for a while, or did it just happen, or?
That's a good question, Commissioner. Good.
I mean,
That's a good question.
yeah,
Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, there's no secret. It's an old system and things don't last forever. And although I want to highlight, we have done some repairs and some upgrades. We've done our meter upgrades that helped with make sure that we're capturing the revenue needed to support the utility department. The needs are just so great that I think that it's hard to address it all at once. So that's why we're trying to come up with a plan and prioritize these. So again, we're recommending this and we're asking for this now so that we can proceed over the next 5 to 10 years when we do our fiscal year budget.
does this fix everything
This is the most critical needs at this time.
at this time?
Yeah.
Can you talk, I'm sorry, Ann.
No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask, in our budget, we were talking about pumps that need to be fixed, that if they went down, we had no backup. Is this part of this
Yes.
here?
Mhm.
And we still haven't gotten those pumps?
Are
We
you
were
talking about?
working, I don't know, Penny, when we were in the budget, do you remember talking about if the pump broke,
Right.
we had no backup?
But we do not have spare
But we couldn't get parts or something for them, I think is what was said. Have we not gotten those parts since budget?
Everything is functioning as right now.
Right.
They just want backup, new ones that are backup, ready to go if one goes down.
So won't that 150 grand buy you about 6 or 8 pumps?
Well, we eliminated requesting for the big stations because the big pump stations, we're going to be looking at doing with the CSO long-term control plan.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
we eliminated that from this. The 150 is just the most critical stations under that size that we would have to have spare parts or pumps for.
Okay.
Where does this put our rates in the future? Is there any sort of a plan for paying for it, or have we saved up enough to pay for part of the improvements, or where does the funding stand?
I mean, this will be used, federal funds will be used for this.
That's the American Rescue.
Right, so that's not gonna affect any rates. Now, when we get to the CSO projects, KIA will probably again tell us, can you cash flow it? They'll project that out for 20 to 30 years and project new rates.
Do we have to take that?
In order to get the money, we will.
To get the funding.
Yes.
The utility fund has to be self-sustaining, so they have to raise enough revenue to pay their own bills, operate as a business.
Yeah, you have to show the ability to repay.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we just did that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Approving the consumer price index
That's
every,
not-
Right,
It helps, but it's not going to cover it.
yeah, but I know that, but
yes, we have.
so, okay,
That's rates are raised every year.
right, based on that, okay.
I'm gonna dig a
Mark?
well.
Do you want to share a little bit of what you guys shared with me about the process that you went through, you and Greg, and the work that you put into the plan?
Sure. We basically drafted priority areas and cost estimates for items like the reliability of our water treatment infrastructure, improving water quality out in the distribution system, what people see at their homes and businesses, improved operations and efficiency for the distribution and collection system, looking at items like in-house maintenance and improving efficiencies throughout the system. So to answer your question, we basically looked at all these items and got cost estimates for each and then presented them to the city manager and yourself and Judge Executive Owen McNeil. But what I came to talk to you today about was just the critical items that I went over earlier.
Do you need a motion for that? No. Okay.
Are
Pardon?
there more?
There were more things that were talked about, but the way that we felt was appropriate to approach the commission was these are the items that we would like to be considered for action now so that we can proceed with, like I said earlier, a 5 to 10 year plan to improve the efficiency of the system, be more proactive with our maintenance of our system.
We don't need to talk about this a great length, but if we're going to make all this investments and we're going to, which I think is a no-brainer. Several of us have been around for a while and we haven't seen this kind of activity since I've been here, nor I can't speak on behalf of David's 22 years, but in the big scheme of things, what's your projection about a new water plant?
Well,
I see you all remodeling down there, all continuous improvements, we call that, but
we definitely are in the need of a new water plant. However, trying to plan this out over the next 15 to 20 years, these are the priorities now. The long-term control plan is going to be a decade or longer process. If the opportunities for funding present themselves, I am all for a new water treatment plant. However, trying to juggle the priorities that face our water and wastewater system, we're under consent judgment for the long-term control plan, the combined sewer system. So when you're facing potential fines, I'm not saying the need's not there, Commissioner. I'm just saying that trying to
yeah, I know.
juggle the
I see what you're
priorities.
saying. If we're gonna-
But we upgraded in 99, didn't we?
The wastewater plant or the
Oh,
water?
no, the water
Waste-
plant. Yeah, when they tore down the growers warehouse and built all that?
long before my time. I'm
Okay,
sure that it
all
did
right.
happen.
I think Commissioner McKay, to answer your question, yes, that is going, I think at some point, and David's welcome to chime in, we've talked about it, that's going to happen. And I think what's very possible to see is a plant on top of the hill and using this plant down here as a major pump station, because that's where the development is going. There's no more development down here. So in order to be able to provide the water to industry, to commercial businesses, and then David, you're welcome to chime in, but I think that's what you've seen. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've had lots of discussions about.
Yeah.
That's very, we can see that kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said.
That's a good, great question, though. Great question.
And
thank
also
you.
during the discussion that we had, Greg and Mark shared that everything they were looking at would either be able to be transferred to a new plant or would be utilized at the existing pump station for the intake.
Correct. There would be
Am I
no
right?
waste in funds of anything that we're
Mhm.
requesting, especially for the water treatment plant. If we were to build a new plant on top of the hill in the next 5 to 15 years, everything could be moved. You wouldn't be wasting any money.
How much water are you pushing to,
Okay.
how much water are you pushing to Fleming County now? Flemingsburg?
I do not have that number with me, but
Okay.
I'd be happy to get that for you and get back to you.
Okay, I just curious because I know Maysville has its problems. I know you're pushing water out there.
And we have actually looked at, and we've actually done engineering to try to get a new water tank out there. It's just, there's a lot of priorities. The list is
Uh-huh.
long.
And yeah, it does. And commissioners, I would recommend if you have the time, get with Mark and Greg and sit down and spend a half an hour, 45 minutes and let those guys go over that full plan. It is excellent. And I commend them, both of them, on the work they've done. They've done a phenomenal job. And at the next meeting, Penny and I are going to bring to you a breakdown of the ARPA funds. And you'll see that a majority of those funds we are proposing to go to these projects. So we'll have that information for you at the next meeting.
I'll never complain about Dennis Truesdale asking for $15,000 pickup truck ever again.
Well, thank you. That was very enlightening.
Good
Thank
job,
you,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
you did a good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Good job.
Thank you, Mark. Loan agreement with USA for aircraft.
This is just to let you know that next month we'll have our annual resolution approving the agreement with the federal government for the aircraft that we have on display out at the Fleming Mason Airport.
So move.
No, it's just, I'll have it next month, or
Okay.
at the next meeting, David.
All right.
Any questions? Resolution authorizing the change order number 3 to the Maysville Second Street Project 22-08.
Excuse me, a resolution authorizing change order on Maysville Second Street project. Be it resolved by the city of Maysville, Kentucky, that the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to sign change order number 3 for the Maysville Second Street project for additional work. Fill 2 fire water storage tanks, all labor, equipment, and materials for an additional amount of $3,400.
So moved.
Second.
Whoever.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartwell,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, ma'am. Closed session pursuant to KRS 61.810(1)F, discussion which might lead to the appointment of individual employees.
So move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartwell,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, ma'am.
Cheap pen.
No.
Yes.
Yes. I sure can. I'll do that now. Thank you. Well, I guess I should go there.
Yeah, we're on closed session now. Basically.
That's all right. They're gonna go in the, they're gonna go in the break room anyway.
When I get finished.
Two thirty?
Yeah, 2:30. Let's do it 10 if you don't mind. I'm gonna close session.
It does slow down starting speed. Well, for my purpose, I would never have a video as my startup thing. Now, I want to embed videos in there. Sure. But I don't want them on that homepage to log down that opening.
I'm doing great. Thanks, Eric.
I would rather have 3 or 4.
I thought about a particular like slider that automatically rotates out between like 3 images, but I haven't decided on that. Usually, if I did that, I would have like at least one stationary image that never changed out.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know. how to
Yeah.
go about
Sounds
that.
like it.
And I don't have to go all the way up to that. It's not gonna be
Like,
scratch
they
stuff.
do
That's
that
what
on
I'm
some
saying.
lists.
Since out there,
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it, brother.
That's
Stand in.
the changes, but
Yes.
still seasonal through there.
Do what?
Yep. That would be the only thing way I would rotate it out. Really. Yeah.
Yeah.
And software did
Yeah.
I mean, they cover the house, cover the opera theater, Russell, you know, they
Well.
really love. This is Lacey. Yeah, that's his son, and we should have had that one on file for a while now, just because he's been a vendor with us for a while. Yeah, but Stephen, no, his very first year, this is Stephen's Joshua's dad. And his very first year with us was last year, because he set up as a blacksmith vendor for us. And like I said, I had to fill one out then, but who knows where it ran away to. You know, something that you may, I don't know how sweet, how Joshua's is, but is it under Krieger Mountain, like an outside beat though, or is it under Social Security? Cause I know that Joshua put down Krieger Mountain as well. I still had it back there. Okay, well, hopefully I'll hear back from me. Okay. I'm ready. What other name? Oh, Krieger Mountain. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. They know I'm there.
Yeah, I mean, as far as embedding videos, I was thinking about that, like that recreation. That would be cool to have. Like,
I thought the same thing. I don't
Tweet like
want to
Charles.
rent a park and I thought, you know, well, like for that purpose. But I wanted to do like blogger video for comments. Images of the road. We have very little footage or images of it.
The ones that I have currently.
I know,
on my red
that
carpet
thing
page,
goes
I went
from
out there and took pictures. of
Take 'em
some
all
of
out.
them.
Say no.
Yeah. Yeah, something I would
How are you guys? Y'all doing well?
How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Family doing good?
Good, doing good.
Getting geared up for campaigning.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, y'all know more about politics than I do.
I don't know anything about politics. That's why I work with city.
I
I don't want to do that political.
I'll be in Frankfurt next week, so.
I would never get elected to anything. My mouth would just.
I think we just keep rolling.
Your dad is. That's probably not.
Craig, Mark, like, made a cringe face when he was asking for 150,000. I was like, how am I gonna feel, when we're staying up in Frankfurt next week after that 75 million being included? I'm like, a little different.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Man, politics.
What else y'all know? What else y'all hear? Think things are going good?
Much, man. I do think things are going good. I like the golf cart idea, and I should have said it or boosted it. In Augusta, that caused the economic growth. We ended up getting a place that rented out golf carts. Couldn't get that.
Only thing, is someone makes you drive on 2nd Street every day.
Did you get behind?
And always, I already get behind cars,
Yeah.
and I think the speed limit is 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Old people do not like
Yeah, sorry.
Are you taking over the club after?
No.
Okay, here we go.
I'd like a motion to call the meeting back to order.
Just want to push back.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
yes.
Commissioner Cartwell,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, ma'am. Is there any other,
Most of them.
I make the motion.
Second.
please?
Brammer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartwell,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you all.
What is Monday?